Hello everyone, I am Untitled. I will be your instructors in the topic electricities and energies. In this topic, we will learn about the concept of energies, and then we will learn about electricities, and we will learn a little mathematics on basic statistics and graph. Now let's start with the topic number 1, which is the energies. What is the energies? Energies is the capacity to do work. Work can be anything. It can be the work to make the car move, or the work to make the fan spin, or the work to make the refrigerators reduce the temperatures. And it's like the store up. The energy is like the store up of work. And when work is done by something, you lose energies. And if the work is done on something, it gain energies. And the energies can be in many forms. For examples, if you have a spring and you move it, you stretch it out and you squeeze it in, that is called elastic energies. Or if you have the batteries on your phones or the batteries on your laptops, that contain electrical energies. And we can drain the energies out to do work. So for examples, your phone have the batteries full 100%, and then you use your batteries to turn on the music or to take pictures, which means that you drain out the energies out of the batteries to do the work. And the other type is that the fuels contain chemical energies. For example, the fuels from gasolines or the fuel from a diesels. And engines can turn the fuels with oxygens into work and make the car goes. Or if you have a hammer and if you raise it up, the hammer in your hand, it has potential energies, mean that it's called the energy of position. The higher it gets, the higher the potential energies. And then when you move the hammers, you move it, and it's changed from potential energies to kinetic energies. Means that kinetics mean that movement. So the energies of motion. If you move something, which means that you will have kinetic energies. And like I said before, energies can move to one to another's. The energies can go from one storage to another's, or it also can go on to the heat. Heat is another form of energies. And that energies generally cannot be created or destroyed. So energies can change to work, energies can change to heat, or energies can change from one type to another. So this is the first one. This is the second one, and this is the third one. So this phenomena we call conservation of energies, that energy can transform to another type, to works or to heat. And even the energy leave to the system, it doesn't go anywhere. For examples like battery lose energies when it power the light, or our body lose the heat all the time. However, those energies are not going anywhere. It still will be in the environment, and it still be in the universe. It haven't gone from anywhere. So that's why we call the conservation of energies. Now, we move on to electricities. What is electricities? Electricity is basically a force. There are 4 basic forces in the universe. The idea behind it is that if you have a particles with positive charge and negative charge, okay? If you put the positive close the positive charge, they push each other away. They don't like each other's. Okay? Also the same thing, if you put negative charge and negative charge close to each other's, they also put each other's away. On the other hand, if you put positive and negative together, and it looks like they like each other. So if you have same charge, like say same charge, so it's repel each other. This is also repel. If you have opposite charge and you are put it close together, it starts to attract each other's. Okay, so the electricity is also happens in the atoms, and it can feel very fast. And if the force that get from the negative and the positive when it's close is really strong, and then with it, when you go further, it's gonna fade away and get weaker the further we go. And in atoms, it contains of a little components, really small components. Okay, in the atoms, the centers, we have protons, which is a positive charge. Have a positive charge. And the neutrons, which there is no charge in neutrons. And around proton and neutron, there are electron, which is negative charge. Dancing around proton and neutrons. Okay, so this pictures is the pictures of the real atoms from the microscope. So inside, and the red and the yellow color is where the proton and the neutron are. The greenish and light blue is the electron that spin around the proton and the neutrons. Okay, like I said before, the proton have electrical charge of +1. Neutron have no charge, and electrons have the charge of -1, which is the negative. Okay, and in the atom is usually the number of the proton and electron are the same, which means that it's in balance. Okay, for examples, if you have let's say, if you have hydrogens. Okay, hydrogen have 1 proton and 1 electron. And 1 electrons. Or carbons, let's say carbon as a C has 8 protons and also 8 electrons. Okay, what happens is that if the atoms gets energies, the electron can be knocked off. Okay, so let's say here, get knocked off. When it gets knocked off, it turns out that you have more proton than electrons. And then what happens is that atoms is now have positive charge. Okay. So for example, if I have carbons, 8 electrons, and I knock off two electrons. Okay, so this carbon is gonna turn into carbon 2+. Okay, and what happens after you knock off the electrons? So for example, that can happen in real life, that if you rub the balloons onto your hair. Okay, when you rub the balloon onto your hair, after a while and you try to take the balloon out of your hair, what happens is that your hair try to go with the balloons, stick to the balloons. In this phenomena, what happens is that the balloon pick up a lot of electrons from your hair, and when it pick up electron, it's become negative charge on the balloons, and the hair lost electrons, and when it lost electron, it become positively charged. So here is positively charged. And like I told you before, opposite attract, plus and minus like each other, so they want to attract each others. So when we have this type of force, we call it static electricities. Okay, this static electricities is not moving, mean that it just sit there, is not moving. Okay, and but be careful if you have built a big difference in charge, it can suddenly bring a balance of the sparks. Okay, so for example, in case of the rubbing balloon, you may only have five positive charge and 5 negative charge. But if you have a lot of positive charge and negative charge that are separate to each other, it turns into a spark. So in this case, the positive charge and the negative charge, they are trying to come back to each other because they attract each other. So this phenomena we call electrostatic discharge or static discharge. Okay, so this phenomena happened in the example of the lightning when it's raining. Okay, so during a storm, the cloud or the wind charge gets separate. Okay, the ice crystal push the wind upward, downward, and then what happened after that event? The negative charge tend to go near the bottom of the cloud, and then the positive charge likely to go on the top of the clouds. Okay, so as you can see here, the positive try to go to the top, the negative in the bottoms. So what happened is that this negative try to move to the positive, and the positive also try to move to the negative, and it create the electrostatic discharge. Okay, and also if the clouds are getting close to each other, this negative charge would likely to go to this positive charge. Okay, and it's also get the lightning from one cloud to another cloud, and also lightning can happen from the cloud to the ground, is because in the ground also have the separation of the positive and the negative charge too. Okay, so when you have the discharge of the positive and the negative charge, and it will create an electric field. So one positive and one negative are trying to combine to each others. Okay, and it's only create a little electric fields. However, when you have a lot of positive charge and you have a lot of negative charge are trying to combine to each others, it's gonna have a massive electric field. Okay, and that electric field can be really dangerous, because when electric fields, that electric field that create from the positive charge and the negative charge can heat up the air up to 5,000 degrees Celsius. Okay, and at that point, if the air is that high of the temperatures, it become plasma, and that plasma is another state that is really lightning and bright. Okay, and then that plasma can break a sound barrier, and then you will hear the rumble and bang after you see the lightning. Okay, and this heat that create can be real dangerous if you are close to where the lightning that happens. Okay, so that's why we see that in the news some people that get lightning struck on their head and they get really burns. It's because that this phenomena that can create the heat up to 50,000 degrees Celsius. Okay, and this static current is not moving, mean that we cannot make it useful for our life. What we want is continuous flow of the current. So the static discharge from the lightning, or the static discharge from your hair with the balloons, or the static discharge that come with your body and also with your clothes, that is not very useful. Okay, sometimes it's violent. But what we want to make our life useful is that we want a continuous flow of electricity, which is called current. Okay, we call it a current is because it looks similar to the movements of the water in the rivers, or the movement of the waters in a waterfall. So how do we gonna make a current move and flow all the times? We use the magnet. Okay, if you use the magnet pass to materials that conduct, we call a conductor that conduct electricities, and that will make the electron move. Okay, like I said, if you put the magnetics close to conductors such as the metals, if you move through the conductors, we can move the electron. And the movement of electron we call the flow of electricities. But when magnets stop moving, of course the current also stops. So how are we gonna make a current flow? Okay, so which means that to make a current flow, we just put the magnet past the Y, and then we just move the Y along with it. Okay, so if you have magnetic fields, you will have electric fields, and electric field can also create magnetics. So it's vice and versa. So to make even more current flow, to generate electricity to power our house and our homes, we usually use a loop of Y. Okay, it's called windings. So inside here, it has magnetics in it, and then we use the Y winding across the magnetic fields and make the electricity flow. Okay, so this is just the basic lay on how we make electricities. And like I said, electricity is a force between negative and positive, and there are two types of electricity that we learned today. The first one is static electricities, which is come from positive and negative that try to get to each other's. It's happened when you rub the balloon on your heads and also in the lightning, but this kind of static electricity is not useful. What we want to make it useful is the current, mean that we want the electricity to flow. To make the electricity to flow, we have to put the conductor with the magnets. Okay, all right, so here is the conclusions of the basic energies and electricities. And now we move on to the electron flow in the circuits. Okay, if you have the circuit, there are three components that make the current for. The first one is called voltage. Okay, the units of it is volt. The voltage is the pushing force of electron in the circuit. The second one is the current. The unit that we use is ampere. Current is a flow of electrons. And the last one is resistance, or R. The units is ohm. So this is ohm, volt, ampere. The resistance is the restriction of the flow of the electron in the circuits. Okay, so the current go an opposite way of the electron. So electron flow in the opposite as the current. So there are two types of current that we've been used in our daily life. The first one is called direct current or DC current. In this case, direct current is the electron flow in one direction only. So if it go north, the electron gonna go north only. The second one is called alternating current or AC current that we use in our house. Okay, so the alternating current is that electron in the circuit are moved first in one direction and then go to opposite direction and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which means that if electron go north at the beginning, it will go south and then go north, go south, go north, go south, and turn into the curve that look like this. Okay, and when we use our electrical equipment, okay, if I ask you if you turn on air conditioners, a fan, and a refrigerators for 24 hours, which electrical device will use the most electricity? Okay, so I will let you think for 10 seconds. And the answer is that it depends on electric powers, or P. Okay, the electric powers that usually unit as watt. Okay, so in each electrical equipment that you have in your own house will have different electrical power. The higher watt will use more electric to run per hours or per minute. Okay, the electrical power of P, the unit is what come from P equal to W. W is a work that electric equipment use divided by times. Okay, so which means that how much does it work per times? How much does it work joules per second? Okay, if you have a lot of work to do for this equipment, mean that you're gonna have to use a lot of power for it. Okay, and when the voltage and the current is in steadies, we can rewrite this as electric power in the form of P equal to IV. So I teach you before is a current, V is voltage. Okay, or this equation V square divided by R. So we have the law in electricity we call Ohm laws. It's the relationship between V, I, and R, which is V equal to IR. Okay, like from this, okay, if I put P equal to IV and then V equal to IR, so I put I and V equal to IR. So it's going to be equal to I square R which is equal to this. Okay, and if I put I as a V divided by R multiplied by V, I'm gonna get V squared divided by R, which is equal to this one. Okay, so basically I just rearranged the mathematics in here. And now we can calculate the electric power that we use. Okay, so this examples is said that iron is constructed by applying a potential difference. So the potential difference is the voltage of 220s. Okay, can I change this one to 120 volts to a nichrome Y that has a total resistance of 8 ohm. So ohms is the resistance. Okay, so if you don't know the meanings of the potential difference or the resistance, my trick is you have to look at the units of it. Is the units of it as a V? V means it's a volt, so which means that that number is a voltage. So if the units is ohm, so that numbers is gonna be resistance. And if unit is A, so A is gonna be ampere, which is gonna be current. Okay, so they want you to find a current carried by the Y. So the current is I, and you want to find. We want you to find the powers rating in the heaters. The power is a P. Okay, so as you know that we have to find I and have to find P. We know what we know is we know V, voltage, and we know R's. Okay, to find the current, we know that the Ohm law, which is V equal to IRs. Okay, we want to know I, so I move R. I should be equal to V divided by R. Okay, we have V equal to 120 volts, and we have R equal to 8 ohms. So use your calculators, and we will get the answer of 15 ampere. Okay, so this is the current. The unit is an ampere. So now let's move on to B, which is the powers. Okay, to find the powers, we know that P equal to IV, right, and then equal to V squared divided by R, and also I square R. So you can do any of that. Okay, it will give you the same answers. So in this example, I choose I square R. So we know I is 15 ampere from the previous examples. So we get 15A square multiplied by R, which is 8 ohm, and I get the answer of, okay, let's see here, 1800 watt. Okay, so 1800 watt, I want to change into kilowatt. Kilo mean that 1000, so which mean I get 1.8 multiplied by 1000 watt. Okay, so this 1000 watt can change to notation 10 to the 3. So which means that the answer is equal to 1.8 kilowatt. Okay, what if you want to try something else? You don't want I square R. We can try to do another. P equal to IV. Okay, we know that I equal to 15 ampere. and V is equal to 120 volt. So the answer is the same, 1800 watt. We can also do P equal to V square divided by R. Okay, so the V square, so we have 120 volt multiplied by 120 volt. Okay, that's V square. And divided by R, which is 8 ohm. And the answers the same, 1800 watt, which is 1.8 kilowatt. Alright, so after we learn how to find the powers of the electrical equipment, and then we're gonna find out how much do we have to pay if we use this equipment. Okay, so to buy electricity or to calculate the electricity that you have to pay is come from this equation, E equal to P multiplied by time that you use. Okay, and the units of P is kilowatt. That's why I teach you how to make it into kilowatt. And times units in hours. And the E is going to be the units of the power multiplied by time, which is going to be kilowatt hours. Okay, so now how are we going to do it? Let's see in these examples. So we have 1000 watt kettles, and we use for 30 minutes. How much does it cost if electrical power costs 1.5 baht per kilowatt hours? Okay, first of all, you have to identify what we have. The first one, 1000 watt. So the unit is watt, mean you have power P. Okay, and times is 30 minutes. Okay, however, we have to change from minutes to hours. So 30 minutes, which is only a half an hour, so 0.5 hours. This is times. And first of all, you have to find the E. Okay, the E is equal to P multiplied by T. We have 1000 watt. We have to change to kilowatt. Mean you get 1 multiplied by 1000. So we get 1 kilowatt. The kilo is the 1000 here. So 1 kilowatt multiplied by 0.5 hours. And we get E equal to 0.5 kilowatt hours. And to calculate that, we have to use the E multiplied by the cost of the power per kilowatt hours. So we use the E 0.5 multiplied by how many baht it is. Okay, so in this case is look like let's see, let me change this to 1.5. Let me check. 5 multiplied by. Okay, alright. So let me change this to 0.7 baht. And when you use 3.7 baht, it's gonna turn into 1.8 baht because you only use 0.5 kilowatt hours. Okay, now I have another examples. Okay, another examples, I use an irons. Okay, 10 amp, 220 volt. If electrical power costs 2.5 baht per kilowatt hours, how much does it cost using the iron for 10 hours, 30 minutes? Okay, so first of all, we have to identify what the exercise give us. So 10 amp. So 10 amp here, the unit is ampere. So this one is current, which is I. The second one is volt. V as a volt, so which means this is a voltage V. Okay, and then the power cost is 2.5 baht, is really obvious. And then 10 hour 30 minutes, we change to hour, which is 10.5 hours. All right, now we know that to calculate the how much do we have to pay, we have to use powers. But in this case, the exercise doesn't tell you the powers, so we have to find it. We know that power P equal to IV. We know I 10 ampere, and we know V 220 volt. So which means we get power of 202,000 volt. In this case, we have to turn into kilowatt, so we get 2,000 kilowatt. So to make it kilowatt, you just have to divide it by 1,000. So you get 2.2 kilowatts. Okay. After you get kilowatt, you have to find the energies that you use. Okay. The energy that you use equal to PT. P is 2.2 kilowatt. And T is time, which is 10.5 hours. And we will get the energies, the overall energies that we use is 23.1 kilowatt hours. Okay. After we get the energies that we use, we can calculate the cost of the electricity. Okay. The cost is going to be whatever energies that we use, which is 23.1 kilowatt hours multiplied by the cost of the power, which is 2.5 baht per kilowatt hours. And then it's ended up that you have to pay 57.7 baht if you use the iron for 10 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, so I think you can try to understand more if you don't get to understand. But I think it's pretty obvious. It's the example that I teach you, that how to find the powers from the current of the voltage, and how to find the energies that related to the powers. And finally, you will be able to calculate the cost that you have to pay per month if you use like several equipment, and each equipment will have different they have different powers. Obviously, the air conditioner have a lot of powers, and the air conditioner probably have higher power than the fan. So when you use the air conditioner, you have to pay more in electrical bills. Okay. And next, we're gonna move on to mathematics, which is going to be an important part that you can learn as a student, or also you can use it in the futures in life. Okay, so in this case, we're going to learn about basic statistic. Okay, now let's think about the example of statistic that you find in everyday life. Okay, so let's get back. So for me, the statistic in the everyday life, I usually use the average. Okay, mainly the average, or also look at the graphs and the articles, or some in a class. Okay, there are two main use of the word of statistics. The first one is, if you have a mass of that data, how are you going to include it in chart or tables? And the second one is, how do you analyze it or interpret that data? Okay, so let's look at this data. So for example, the survey of the 50 students of how many times they want to work out last month. Okay, so when you look at this, it's all over the place, right? So you don't know how many 3, how many 8. It's just all over the place. So this is called a frequency of distributions. So how do we make the data better so people can understand it right away when they look at it? So first of all, we can count the outcome, right? So the outcome here is there are 2 people that go 1 times, okay, and the 3 people that go 3 times, and the 4 people that go 5 times, and the 6 people that go 9 times. And now this one will look better, and you can find it better that there are the outcome of here, okay, that 6 people that go 9 times. Okay, how to do a frequency of distribution? First of all, you have to organize them into a groups or a class. Okay, so for examples, a group of the people that go to the 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. Okay, and determine number of the frequencies. So for examples here, there are 6 people that go 9 times. Okay, and now you can summarize it to analyze the data. It's called a frequency of distributions. All right, so when you have a frequency of distribution, you have to measure a center of tendencies. So we will be able to interpret the data of the information. So let's look at this data as a possible bowling scores. So these persons play 7 games of the bowlings on Monday night and Thursday night. So the Monday night is going to be in blue and the Thursday night is going to be in black. Okay, and when you look at the game 1, Monday night is 175. Game 1 in Thursday night is 180. Okay, and then when we look at this data, we find the totals of it. Okay, so add it up the data, and then we can find one type of the central of tendency, which is called average. Okay, so the average is basically we divide the totals of the scores by the number of games. So Monday night, the total score is 1,295 and then divided by 7. And Thursday night is 1,190 and also divided by 7. And it's turned out that the average of the Monday night is higher than the average of the Thursday night. Okay, and can we conclude that Monday night is better than Thursday night? Okay, let's see if we compare the games separately, which one that have better score. Let's go back. Okay, so game 1 Thursday night is higher. Game 2 Monday night. Game 3 Thursday. And game 4 Thursday. Game 5 Thursday. And game 6 also Thursday. Game 7 is Monday. Now when we look at this, it looks like Thursday night have 5 games that is higher than the Monday night. Okay, 5 out of 7 games. So the average, or we call it means, is one type of statistic to measure. Okay, it doesn't mean, so even the average of the Monday night is higher than Thursday night, it doesn't mean that Monday night is better than Thursday night. So we have to introduce the measurement of central tendency, which contain 3 numbers. The first one is the means, or what we just call average. Okay. The average or the mean is number that you found by you adding all the data and divided by the numbers of the value in the data set. The second one is the median. Median is the middle numbers. Okay. If you have two middle number in the data set, two middle number, you have to add it and divide it by 2. Okay. And mode is the value that occur the most frequent. Okay. But if there is no number that occur the more frequent, we say that there is no mode. And there is a possibility that you can have one more mode. You can have 2 or 3 mode. Alright, so this is just the definition. So I want now to find the medians of the scores of the bowling games on Monday night and Thursday night. Okay, to find the median, you have to rearrange the data from smallest to the largest. Okay, and then we already rearrange, and we find the number in the medians. Okay, so this is a medians. So to find the number in the middle, so we just cross out. The easy way, cross out as a pair, and you have one number left. Cross out as a pair, and you have one number left. Okay, and what if you have a really big numbers? You cannot cross out. If you have 10,000 data, you cannot cross out. You have to divide it into 2. Okay, so for example, in this case, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 data, and you divide it to 2, and you get 3.5. Okay, so 3.5 is the number with decimals. With decimals. Okay, so when you have a number with decimal, you have to use the next orders, which is we use the 4th data. Okay, if you count this is the number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you get the 4th data as a medians. Okay, how about if you have another data? For examples, if you have another data, for example, you have another data here, 200. Okay, the median is going to be, if you cross out by pair, oops, sorry, 1, 2, 3. If you cross out by pair, you're going to have this one and this one left. And to find the median, you have to get 180 plus 185 divided by 2. Okay. Okay. So in this case, you have 8 data. So in case with 200, 8 data divided by 2, and you get 4. This 4 has no decimals. Okay, if you have the results with no decimals, mean that you have to use 4th data plus 5th data divided by 2, which is 180 plus 185 divided by 2, and you're gonna get the medians of the 8 data. Okay, the next one is the mode. Okay, mode is the number that occur the most frequent. On Monday night, the number that occur the most frequent is 160, so that is mode. On Thursday night, the number that occur the most frequent is 185. Okay, so that is the mode. Alright, so now after we know about mean, median, and mode, let's try to compare the three measurements of the tendencies of this bowling score. So the mean for Monday night is 185, Thursday night is 170, medians Monday 185, Thursday 180, so Thursday has higher medians. The modes, also Thursday has higher mode than the Monday night. And then after we use all three numbers, mean, median, and mode, now we cannot convince ourselves that Monday game is better than Thursday game, because Thursday game has more medians and mode, so the two components that higher. So in this case, we can conclude that the Thursday night game is better than Monday night games. Alright, so now let's try to do some exercise. Try to find mean, median, and mode for the following set of numbers. Okay, so means for we have number 4, 5, 5, 6, 10. First of all, you have to rearrange from small to large. Okay, smallest to the largest, and it seems like this number already rearranged from small to the largest. So let's find the mean. Mean should be equal to the additional of all the numbers. So 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 10, and divided by the number of the data, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So in this case, I get, how much is this? 10, 10, 30 divided by 5, which is equal to 6. Okay. And then median. Okay. Median is, so if you rearrange data, 4, 5, 5, 6, 10, we can do pair cross and pair cross, so we get median equal to 5. Okay, if you don't want to do, if you have, like I said, you can do another ways. You can use the number of data, which is equal to 5 divided by 2, and you get 2.5. So this is 2.5 is the number with decimals, which means that you use the third data. So the third data is 4. So this is first, second, and third. Okay, so you get same answer, equal to 5. And mode is the most frequent, so it's obvious, it's also 5. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. 3, 12, 9, 6, 9, 3, and 5. So in this case, it haven't rearranged yet, so you have to rearrange from low to high. Okay, let's say here 3, 3, 5, 6, 9, 9, 12. Okay, so mean is the additions of all the number, 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 9 plus 12, and divided by the number of the data, which is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so you get 7, which is equal to 47 divided by 7. Okay, and now you can find the numbers yourself using your calculators. The second one is the median. The medians, so if you do easy way by using crossing, couple cross, and then get 6 as a medians. Or you can do another way, like I said, we have how many data sets? 7 data sets. And you divide it by 2 and you get 3.5. So this is the answer is the number with decimals. So we use fourth data. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. So here the answer is 6. And the last one is mode. Is the most frequent. So in this case we have 3 and 9. Whereas 3 have 2 datas and also 9 have 2 datas. Alright, so now is another ones. Alright, first of all, rearrange, find mean, median, and mode for this following set. Okay, now let's rearrange from low to high. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Find the means. 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 9 and divided by number of data, which is 6. Okay, so in this case I get 5, 10, 23, 32 divided by 6. So the answer is 5.3. And medians. Okay, so median, I cross it out, and now we have 2 datas left. So in this case, the median equal to 5 plus 6 divided by 2, and I get 5.5. Okay, so you can also use another way or another option by using the number of data, which is equal to 6, and divided by 2, and you get 3. And this number is no decimals. When you have no decimals after this, you have to use the third data plus the fourth data divided by 2. So in this case, this is the first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, so same, we get 5 plus 6 divided by 2. And then mode, last one. So there is no mode because there is no number that is the frequent occur. Alright, so this is just the example of how to find a central of tendencies from the set of number that is small. Now, how about if you have a data that presents in a frequency of distribution? You have a lot of data in it. So for examples, in this case, we have 50 students and we have a quiz score of 0 to 5, and the frequency is from these tables. How do you gonna find mean mode? Mean, let's see, mean, medians, and Okay. All right. First of all, we have to find mean. To find mean, you have to find the overall of the total score. Okay. The overall total score is, so here total score 0 plus 1. So in this case, let's see if it's go into the set is gonna be quit score 0, quit score 1, have 1 3 times, and 2 1 time, and 3 19 times, 4 1 times, and then 5 25 times. Okay. To find the mean, you have to combine all the score. Okay. So in this case, we use the quit score multiplied by the frequency. So this one, 0 multiplied by 1 equal to zeros. 1 multiplied by 3 equal to 3. 2 multiplied by 1 equal to 2. 3 multiplied by the 19 should be equal to 57. 4 multiplied by 1 equal to 4, and 5 multiplied by 25, which is 125. Okay, and now you have to combine. So I combine all of this. Use my calculators, or you can also use your calculators, and it's turned out that the combinations of all this number is 191. Okay, so the mean is gonna be the total scores, which is 191, divided by number of students, which is 50s, and I get the mean is equal to 3.82. All right, and now let's find medians. Okay, so in this case, like I said, we have a lot of data, 50 peoples. So in order to find the median easily, you have to use all the data, which is 50s, divided by 2, and you get 25. And this number 25 have no decimals. Okay, no decimals. So after you have no decimal, which means that you have to use the data of the 25th plus the data of 26 divided by 2. Alright, to find that data of 25th and 26, you just have to find the frequencies. So 1 plus 3, this is 4. 3 plus 1, 5. And then 5 plus 19 is 24. And the 25 is here, and 26 is here, which means that the 25 is equal to 4, and the 26 is 5. Now we divide it by 2, and then we get the medians equal to 4.5. Okay, now mode, the last one. The mode is the number that occur the most frequent, mean that have the highest frequencies. So in the tables, it's obvious that the quit score of 5 is the most frequent, that 25 people have the quit score of 5. So the mode answer is 5. Okay, so now move on to another one. Okay, another one is also the scores of the class 0 to 90s, and find the mean, median, and mode for the class. I will let you do it for a little bit, and then I will come back. Alright, now to find the means, same like before. You have to find the overall, the totals of the score. So in this case, we use 90 multiplied by 2 is 180s. 80 multiplied by 4, 320. 70 multiplied by 9, 63, 6030. 60 multiplied by 5, 300. 50 multiplied by 3, 150s. 40 multiplied by 1 is 40s. 30 multiplied by 2, 60. 0 multiplied by 4, and zeros. Okay, now you combine, and I get this as 1680s, 1680s. And now you have to find the frequencies, and we forgot to find this out. The frequency is the number of people in the class, which in this case is a combination of these numbers, which in this case I get 30 people. Alright, to find the mean, it's gonna be the total score, 1680s, divided by 30s people, which is gonna be equal to 56. Okay, the second is, okay, now let's change colors a little bit. Medians. Okay, so the median, we have 30 people, we divide it by 2 and get 15s. So 15 is the number with no decimals, so we use 15 plus 16 data divided by 2. Okay, to find which one is 15 and the 16, you have to go from low to high. So in this case, the lowest score is in the bottom, so we have to go for to high. So start here, 4 plus 2, 6, 7, 7 plus 3, 10, and 15. So the 15 is 60, and 15 is 60. Let's say 60 plus 16 is gonna be in a range of here. 15 plus 9 is 24. So which means that the 16 is 70s, and divided by 2, and I get the median should be equal to 65. Okay, and now last one, mode. Okay, mode is the most frequent, so we just look at the data is that have the most frequency, which is here, 70. Okay, so I hope you understand how to calculate measure of the central of tendency, which are mean, median, and mode in a different kind of data. It can be a simple set of numbers, or it can be a number that is in the tables and already represent as a frequency of distributions. Now is the exercise is the last one of how to calculate things, okay, which is very important for you guys to know how to calculate your GPA in the grade reports. So in your GPA, two most important things that you have to consider is the credits of that class, and the second one is the grades. So each grade will represent a different numbers. For example, if you get A is 4, B plus is 3.5, B is 3, C plus 2.5, C is 2, and D plus 1.5, D is 1, and F is zeros. And to calculate the grades, you have to multiply your grade with your credits and then find out the grades. So in this exercise, it looks like this person takes 5 classes. Each class have a different credits, and also this person have different grades. So to find out the grade, you have to multiply the credits with the grades. Okay, so in here, so credits is 2, the grades B represent 3 and equal to 6, and math 3 credits multiplied by A, get 4 equal to 12. English 2 credits and get C plus is 2.5 and get 5. Chinese 2 credits multiplied by B, which is 3 equal to 6. And the last one is chemistry. 3 multiplied by grade is 2 equal to 6. So this column is credits and this column is the grades. Okay, after you get the results from each subjects, you add it to each other's, and now I get 32. Okay, so to find the GPA, you have to use the overall of the result that you get of 32 divided by the overall credits. So overall points divided by credits, which is the credits is equal to how many? 12 credits. 12. So the GPA of this person is going to turn into 2.67. Alright, so this is very easy, right, to find to calculate the GPA. It's even easier if you get all A, so you get 4.0 grades. Okay, so you don't have to calculate this at all. Okay, now the last topic that we're gonna move on to is graph. We see the graph everywhere in our life. You can see the graph on Facebook, you can see the graph on the articles, or you can see the graph on Instagram. It's everywhere. So there are several types of graph out there. It's depend on how the people want to present to make it interesting. So this is just an example of the graph that you can find out there. This can be a column graph, bar graph, or pie graph, donut, line, some areas or some spiders, or some bubble chart, or some gauge chart. So all kind of graph of this can represent anything that they want to represent. Okay, and the first one that I'm gonna talk about is the one of the most basic one, which is called bar graph. Okay, so the bar graph is something that you compare one thing to another that relate to each other's. Okay, so one side on a horizontals is one thing, and in the verticals is another thing, and it's relate to each other's. Okay, so for example, this is example of the graph of what kind of pet do you own. So the x-axis, which is horizontal, so x-axis we call here, and the y-axis is verticals. The x-axis represent the pet that people own, and the y-axis represent the number that can measure. So for example, you have 4 people that have rabbits, and 8 people that have dog, 11 people have cat, 6 people, so here 6 people that have goldfish, and 5 people that have hamsters. So you just draw a line to here, and you will figure out how many people have different kind of pets. So that's the bar graph and how you read it. Now, if I have a bar graph of this comparisons between the poll, so this is a bar graph from the elections, and is the yellow one represent the person named Finners, the green one represent the person named Beckers, and the blue one is the people that haven't decided yet to pick Finners or Beckers. So this is the poll from June 2007 to September 2008. From this graph, we can answer these questions. Who is the favorite in the election poll? Okay, so as you can see here, the favorite is the high one. Look like the yellow one have higher number than the green ones and also the blue one. And the yellow one is the Finners. So the favorite is Finners. Okay. And now the second one asks you what percent of the world favorite Becker in July 2008. So July 2008 is here, July 2008. And what percent that like Becker? Becker is the greens. So I just draw the line from here. It may not be straight, sorry. So roughly. So like I said, maybe 35%. Okay. And the last one. In which month was undecided vote is the greatest? The undecided vote is the blue color. So you have to look for the blue color that spiked the highest. And look like September 07 has the highest of all. So I answer September's 07. Okay, so now it's pretty simple, right? To read it, you have to lie between the graph and the vertical line. The second type of graph is called line graph. So this line graph usually illustrate the change. If you want to see the changing of something, people usually represent the data in the line graph. Okay, so the line graph we usually see in the stock markets, because people can see it frequently if it go up or go down. To construct the line graph is also same as putting the bar graph, but instead of putting the bar in there, we put the dot in there. And then after you get the dot, you connect the dot from the beginning to the end, and then you will see the change in the line graph. So for examples here, the line graph go down, and then it's keep going up and spike, and then after that it's go down. Now to read the line graph, you just have to look at the trends. So this exercise asks you during which month that it rained in the most in New Orleans or Honolulu. So New Orleans represent as the orange color line graph here, the dot, and Honolulu represents the blue line. So rain the most mean that it have to be the highest. The New Orleans, the highest is here, which is July. Let's say July. And Honolulu's, the most highest is look like it's over here, which is January. Okay. The next one is during which month does it rain least in New Orleans and Honolulu? So least mean that we have to look for the lowest. For the lowest in New Orleans is this month, which is October. Okay, and in Honolulu's is here, June's. Okay, so really simple how to read the line graph. Okay, now the last one of the graph that we're gonna learn is a circle graph. Okay, so in this type of graph, we call it as a pie chart. Okay, this graph usually illustrate the fractions of the one thing and divide it into parts. For example, if you have income in 1 month, and if you want to budget your expense, so you can divide it into several expenses such as the food or the transportations or the rent. And if you put into a circle graph or a pie chart, you will be able to illustrate which one is higher easily. Okay, so to create a circle graph, you have to relate your expense into a circles, and we know that the circle have 360 degree around it. Okay, so this 600 degree represent 100% of the data, or 100% of the income. Okay, and then if you get, first of all, you get the percentage of each expense and then multiply by 360, and you will get the number of degrees of each categories. Okay, so now let's say here this is the monthly expense of Max. So he have spending for housings 14,000 baht, pay for debt 4,000 baht, insurance 4,500, and he saved for his retirement 5,000 baht, tax, and spend daily, and then other savings. So we have to combine overall of this, how much he make. So it look like he make 20,000 20,000 plus, okay, look like it's 50,000 baht. Okay, now he make 50,000 baht. Gonna find out how many percent of the housings. So to 5%, you just use 14 divided by 50,000, and I get, so this 1 2 3 14 divided by 50s, and I get 2.8. Okay, so this 2.8, to make it a percent, we multiply by 100, so I get 28%. Okay, same things as, so let's see these examples. Retirements 5,000 divided by 50,000 multiplied by hundreds, and I'm gonna get the retirement as 10%. Okay, so daily expense 10,000 divided by 50,000, and get daily expense as 20%. To find out how many degrees is each percent is, we can do some little calculations. So as we know that one circle have 360 degrees, and that considering 100%. Okay, if you have 10%, for examples, how many degrees is gonna be? So let's say y degrees, y degree. So to find out the y, so we use a cross multiplication. So I get y multiplied by 100 should be equal to 30 multiplied by 10, and y should be equal to 30 multiplied by 10 and divided by 100. of 360, sorry, 360. Now I'm get y equal to 36 degrees, which means that the retirement that 10%, this is gonna be 63 degree here. Okay, it's also the same as others expense. So for example, another example, we use how about 20%. 20%. So the 20% of the daily expense, I'm gonna change it to 20 here. '20s and then 20s, and it's turned out 72 degrees. So which means that the daily spend here is 72 degrees around here to construct the circle graph. And the last one that has been popular lately in articles is called pictograph. Pictograph is some graphic or the pictures that represent the publication or advertisement itself using pictures that relate to that articles. So for examples, here is the number of cars that have been sold since 2003 to 2007, and they represent it as a car. So half of a car mean that half of the numbers. So one car represent 1,000 car. One pictures of car represent 1,000 car that they sold. And it looked like in 2003 they sold 1, 2, 3, so 3,000 car. 2004 is 2,500 cars. And 2005, 4,000 cars. 2006, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4,500 cars. And 2007 is 2,000 cars. So this is very easy. So you just have to multiply the pictures with the number that represent for one pictures. So this is the last graph of the pictograph. Okay, so here is the end of this topic, electric cities, energies, and also the statistic, the standard statistic. So I hope you guys enjoy the class, and I will see you in class for the quiz. Thank you.